In this video, we're going to see how 4 men recovered their hair on the frontal area, on the hairline, and across the entire top of the head without getting a hair transplant. Believe me, we're going to see 4 truly incredible transformations, and I highly recommend watching every single case because the stories of these people are very interesting, and I'm sure you'll feel identified with at least one of them. Plus, the last 2 cases are especially interesting. By the way, I would love to know your opinion. Do you prefer that I upload more hair transformation videos, or do you prefer videos about upcoming treatments and scientific reviews? Let me know in the comments. In this first case, we'll see the progress of a 34-year-old man who, before started treatment, began with hair loss localized on the frontal area and the hairline, a grade 3 on the Norbert-Hamilton scale. This person used 0.3% topical finasteride and 6% topical Minoxidil in a commercial product. So he didn't use a compounded formulation for a year and a half, from December 2024 to May 2026. Here is his current hair condition, and as we can see, the change is absolutely brutal. This person managed to increase his hair density in the frontal area, which is without a doubt the hardest thing to do with the treatment. Right now, he has gone from a Norbert 3 to a Norbert 2, or maybe even something better. An astounding result, and honestly, many people would be thrilled with this kind of change even after a hair transplant, but he achieved it using only topical finasteride and topical Minoxidil. Of course, after all this time, if this person wanted to improve his hair condition even further and reach an Norbert 1, for example, he would probably need a hair transplant. But thanks to the medication, if he chooses to get a hair transplant, he will need significantly fewer grafts. Now, you might be wondering, at what exact point in his treatment did he start to see the first positive changes, those early signs of hair regrowth? At the 3-month mark. Here is his progress during the first 90 days of treatment. And as you can see, his change was very positive and suggested that after the first year, he would keep improving and could completely close his case without needing surgery. If you followed this channel, this case probably sounds familiar because it's an update. In fact, in the first video where we covered his case, we saw his progress after those initial 3 months. And while his 3-month progress was already very positive, when you compared those 3 months to the 1.5 year mark, the overall improvement is just night and day. In this second case, we're going to see the progress of a 33-year-old man who started with hair loss affecting the entire top of his head, well on his way to becoming a grade 5A on the Norbert-Hamilton scale. This person used 1 mg of oral finasteride for 3.5 months. Additionally, during the first 3 weeks, he used 5% topical Minoxidil, but he stopped using it because he wasn't consistent with the application. As we can see here, the transformation this patient achieved in such a short time is absolutely wild. It's true that light in both images isn't exactly the same, but even so, the change is absolutely remarkable and could easily pass for a hair transplant. The best part of all is that this person has still room for improvement, and over the coming months, he will surely continue to improve hair thickness and overall density, similar to what the previous patient experienced. He mentions that he buzzed his hair 3.5 months ago before starting oral finasteride and topical Minoxidil, although, as I noted earlier, he quit topical Minoxidil after 3 weeks because he wasn't consistent. Right now, both he and his wife are completely in shock. They never expected this level of improvement, and it's no wonder. His transformation was truly astonishing. In this third case, we'll see the progress of a man who just turned 31, and who, before starting treatment, began with diffuse thinning affecting the entire top of his head. This person used 0.5 mg of oral dutasteride and 5% topical Minoxidil foam for 9 months. Here is his current hair condition, and we can see that the change he experienced is incredible. This man managed to fill in all the areas affected by hair loss, and right now it's practically impossible to tell he ever had alopecia. Once again, this person is completely blown away by his results and is growing out his hair to do something he thought he would never ever do again: go to the barber for a haircut. This might sound silly to some, but for him, going to the barber is a massive deal. Years ago, it was one of his favorite things to do, going to the barber to get a scalp massage and get his favorite haircut. And he hadn't stepped into a barbershop in years due to his hair loss. Furthermore, this person mentions something extremely important and unfortunately very relevant nowadays. Before informing himself with science-based content, like what I offer in this channel in every video, he visited a dermatologist who basically gave up on his case and showed no interest to help him recover his hair. Worst of all, this doctor misinformed his patient regarding the side effects of finasteride and dutasteride, painting a dark future where if he wanted to keep his hair, he was guaranteed to experience sexual dysfunction and depression. This is extremely serious and sadly much more common than you might think. Luckily, this man decided to make a choice based on scientific evidence and not his doctor's lies. Because yes, a doctor isn't right simply because they're a doctor. A doctor is right if what they say is backed up by science. Period. If you happen to be afraid of the potential side effects of finasteride and dutasteride, you can find the most comprehensive book on this topic on my website. It will answer any questions you may have and help you make an informed decision. I'll leave the link in the description. In this final case, we're going to look at the progress of a man who was 22 to 23 years old when he started treatment and is now 26. And yes, this man actually started treatment right before his birthday. As we can see here, this person started with hair loss localized on the frontal area and the hairline, and advanced northward 3 heading towards an northward 3A. And this image was taken on November 18th, 2022. This person started by using a topical formulation of finasteride and minoxidil during the first year, but after this time, he decided to switch to 1 mg of oral finasteride and 5% minoxidil foam once or twice a day, hoping to achieve even better results. Here is his hair condition after almost 3 years of treatment. As we can see, his change is spectacular. He went from a northward 3 heading towards a northward 3A down to a northward 2. And right now, this man has a truly fantastic hairline. But what this person did after achieving such a result is simply incredible. He decided on his own, without consulting with his dermatologist, to stop using minoxidil, thinking he could maintain his gains using only finasteride. And what happened is that within a few months, he experienced terrible shedding. Then he decided to go back to 5% topical minoxidil, this time combined with microneedling. Fortunately, this person has managed to slowly recover his hair little by little. And yes, this is what you should expect if you do the same. If you stop using minoxidil, you should expect to lose the hair you gained with it, because that hair becomes dependent on the chemical stimulus of the drug. For this reason, perhaps in most cases, the ideal approach would be to start by using only finasteride. Then, if after 1 year the patient wants to keep improving, they could add minoxidil. This allows us to understand what part of our gain is due to finasteride and what part is due to minoxidil. That way, there won't be any surprises if you decide to stop using minoxidil. And evidently, if you have been diagnosed with androgenetic alopecia and you're wondering whether you should use finasteride or minoxidil, without a doubt, the best thing you can do is to use finasteride, since only finasteride attacks one of the main root causes of androgenetic alopecia, the amount of DHT reaching our follicles. And if you want to see the progress of 2 patients using Breezula, an upcoming treatment under investigation that promises to reduce the second main root cause of androgenec alopecia, the sensitivity of our follicles to DHT, and which could become the best friend of finasteride and minoxidil, you have to watch this video.